Part 4, July 4th, 2020, the Criterion, the controversy around this message by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We just talked about the 4th book of the books of Moses, the book of Numbers, and being counted by God. And in the 4th chapter, the 4th verse, it talks about the work of the Kohathites and the care of the most holy things. Now, the question that we should ask ourselves when we read this: who are the Kohathites? And what was the work of the Kohathites? Who Kohathites, and is that even relevant to us in 2020? I think so, good people, if you will bear with me a few more minutes. The Kohathites are descendants of a man in ancient times named Kohath. Kohath was the son of another man in the biblical context named Levi. Levi was one of the first priests, the progenitor, if you will, of the Levitical priesthood. So Kohath is the son of the man who created the Levitical priesthood. Now, if we are Christians, if we're looking for Jesus the Christ, scholars try to trace Jesus back to the Levitical priesthood. This is the relevance of who Kohath is and who the Kohathites are. Kohath. Well, Kohath, according to some sources, it has 3 meanings. One meaning, is congregation. The second word that it means is wrinkle. And the last word in its definition is bluntness. Bluntness. So Kohath has a grandson named Korah. This is all in the Bible, what we call the Old Testament of the Bible. This man Korah rebelled against the leadership of Moses and Aaron. He was an enemy to Moses and Aaron. So Kohath has descendants that are known as the Kohathites. The Kohathites are one of 4 specific divisions of the Levitical priest clans, which also include the Aaronic priestly class. So stay with me. You can play this back for those of you who are deep biblical students. You can go fact check what I'm telling you. So the Kohathites are one of 4 divisions of the Levitical priesthood. And these priests are given a sacred charge. Something that started with the experience of Moses on the mountain, that they are playing a role in preserving. 4 clans of priesthood. Here's that 4 again. Out of the 4, the Kohathites are given a privileged position that the other clans of priests don't have. They're charged with carrying what's called the staves of the tabernacle of meeting. They have to bear this. They have to bear the staves, or the part that holds up the tabernacle, with their bare hands. The other clans of priests, they're charged with carrying tabernacle ornaments and whatnot as well, but they're known to use animals and carts and whatnot. So the Kohathites are given a mission that includes them being a burden bearer of something that normally an animal would be a burden bearer of. Does that sound familiar to black people in America? Are we still yet not the burden bearers of white people in America? Are we not the first technology, the first physical technology and mental technology in the building of the United States of America? Are we not yet, even as we talk about the coronavirus, the burden bearers of the virus? Are we not the burden bearers of every ill in this white world, in this white male dominated, designed, engineered, and controlled world system? Are we not the modern Kohathites? Because even though the Kohathites were burden bearers, they were bearing up the tabernacle of meeting, a place where men would go. Moses, Aaron, the Levitical priests would go into the tabernacle to meet with God. Now this is all very, very symbolic. So they're bearing up on their shoulders with their bodies a place where a man can meet God. Think over that. Because we've been taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We've been taught by his teacher, Master Farad Muhammad. We've been taught by, and in a different way, in a different language, by men like a Noble Drew Ali, even men like Father Divine, Daddy Grace, and others who began to try to make us see that in our being was the place where a man meets God. And so these scriptures come to life only when you understand them from the right perspective. So July 4th, 2020, 444 is significant to the Bible. Fourth book of the 5 books of Moses, the book of Numbers, 4th chapter, 4th verse, and the chapter itself has 40 verses. 4, 4, 4, 4 is all through what went on July 4th, 2020, connecting it back to a base laid in popular culture by this man, Sean Carter, who is a critically acclaimed, well-respected entity in the music world, and people were waiting for him to speak at a conscious level. And finally, on the album 444, we get a sight of how he really views the world in terms of the relationship between powerful whites and the struggle of black people, and he finds himself in a controversy around 444. So this, I'm taking it back to 3 years prior to July 4th, 2020, and trying to get us to understand that the Creator is at work. And there's a mathematics going on the planet that is going to arrive at a value that most people are having a hard time accepting. This controversy around 444 is tied to this controversy that so many powerful black men who stood up for black people found themselves in with the so-called Jews. This controversy with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan goes back itself to 1984. In 1984, as some of you know or may remember or whatever, it was in 1984 that the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. decided to run for the presidency of the United States of America. And in the build-up, or in the midst of his campaign, he spoke to a black reporter Milton Coleman in New York, and in their dialogue, they're off the record. It was not a part of an on-the-record conversation. It was supposed to be a private, off-the-record conversation between Reverend Jesse Jackson and this man, this reporter, Milton Coleman. He used the word Hymietown to refer to New York, New York. And Milton Coleman betrayed his trust and printed in a major newspaper these words of Reverend Jackson off the record, and it caused an instant attack on Reverend Jackson by this group of Jews who always lead the attack on black leadership, to say that Reverend Jackson now all of a sudden is an anti-Semite based on what? Did he say exterminate Jewish people? Did he say get rid of Jewish people? Did he say that Jewish people need to give us back some money from all of the years of being slum landlords, all of the years of engineering contracts that locked us out of land ownership, getting bank loans? Did he say that Jews should do some form of reparations for overcharging us for auto loans or jewelry loans, or ripping us off when we come to a pawn shop? Or did he call the roll on Jewish people and attack them? No, he didn't. He used the slang Hymietown. Well, did Reverend Jackson invent the slang? No, he did not. At that time, you could walk through New York, parts of New York, and see businesses with the word Jaime, the name Jaime, on the sign. He didn't make that name up. And according to some white Jews, this is a term they call themselves. This is a name they give their sons. So just by him using the word Hymietown was a recognition that these are people you have to respect in New York. These are people you need to deal with in New York. But they spun it as though Reverend Jackson was attacking them and tried to label him an anti-Semite. They went on the attack. They spoke into the fear of whites that a black man might actually become the president of the United States. And so when they went on attack against Reverend Jackson, his brother, his friend, his comrade, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who had agreed to support him because he came to him for support, spoke up, stood up, and began to defend Reverend Jackson against these claims that he was an anti-Semite and he had something against Jewish people. And so Minister Farrakhan, not being a coward, decided it was his responsibility to at least speak up and try to defend his brother from lies being told on his brother. And hence, here comes the controversy, because white men are used to black people bowing down. When they call you an anti-Semite, when white folks get on your case in the media, your knees start shaking. You start getting backaches and ankle aches, and you start getting itches all over your body. And before you know it, you bowing down, you buckling, you bending over, you backing up, you apologizing. So they thought that was going to be the reaction to them attacking Reverend Jackson. But wait a minute, here comes this man, Louis Farrakhan, out of nowhere. Who is he? Where did he come from? We thought we got rid of these black Muslims, and now here comes this man, the national representative of that man we hate, Elijah Muhammad, who we believe we killed. Here he comes speaking up when all the other Negroes backed up and kept their mouth shut. He's got the balls to stand up to us. Wait a minute. You know what? We're going to get you too, Farrakhan. We're going to show you that we're the power. We're going to show you that we make every black leader suffer. And we're not going to stop until we make you suffer. The persecution by a small group of powerful white men who hide under the moniker or banner of a mantle of being Jews has not stopped since 1984. What happened on July 4th, 2020 is just the latest episode and the latest chapter. And so we need to see it. We need to look at it. We need to listen to it. We need to let it settle on our minds and our hearts and try to come to some understanding of what's really going on this planet around this little man on the south side of Chicago, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Who is he? Does he have a message from on high? And was that a message from on high, July 4th, 2020?